Hello, and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gail Thompson, and today is a sort of a different tutorial for me. We're going to take a deep dive into my new BetterPress and look at how versatile it is. And I'm going to do this in real time, so it's a little longer video. So grab your beverage of choice, sit down, and relax, and let's get started. The first thing I want to do is show you a little hack that I think is pretty handy. These sticky grids from Sizzix, they're two-sided adhesive, and you can get several uses out of these before they die. But I didn't like taping my things because the tape would wind up, if you had it taped on the edge and you had an image over the edge, it would wind up taping the ink would wind up on the tape. So I decided I didn't want to do that. And this seemed like a pretty good way to do it. It's not perfect this way, but I did try to kind of line it up a little bit on the crosshairs. Yeah, it's a little lower, but it's all its job is to hold the paper. So I'm going to show you how this hack works, and I think you'll enjoy it. And yes, the BetterPress ink does leave a residue, and I clean it up with my archival ink because basically the BetterPress ink is the same as archival ink. Same container. It's got a felt pad. It's hard to see, but it's not one of those gushy pads. You need a felt pad because if you had a gushy pad, it would just sop the whole thing. And all we want to do is catch the top. And yeah, it does still stain the plate, but that just shows it's been loved. So this platen is magnetic, and there are some shims underneath that we'll talk about later. I just leave the regular shims in. This Magnolia is from Pinkfresh Studios. They are authorized to make press plates for uh, spellbinders. For a minute there, I couldn't think. So I want to make sure that I place this where I want it, and I want to make sure that the paper is placed over it correctly because I'm using the BetterPress paper. This is the stuff that came with it. And it just so happens I've ordered some, and all of my packages have been sitting at the Indianapolis Post Station for, I don't know, 3 days. It said it was going to be delivered Monday, then Tuesday, then today. And so I'm just using the BetterPress paper that came with it. It's kind of a cotton paper, and it's fairly thick. Uh, a hair thicker than the 110 Nina, but not as thick as the 140 Not Your Mama's cardstock. But what I do is I want to lay the paper over it and be fairly certain that it's going to actually, this is what I do. I lay this on the paper backwards, and then I just lay this down on the magnet. And since this sticky grid is sticky on both sides, I take the top plate to the BetterPress and just hook it down, and then press on it. And look, it just picks up the paper. So now I know that my paper is in the perfect spot and I don't have tape in the way or anything. I'm going to use the BetterPress ink on this, but it could really be I wouldn't suggest using the foam pads I would definitely do a felt pad, a nice firm pad, and you don't want it to be too inky either because it'll get in the nooks and crevices. Now, I'm just twisting it. The the dab and twist kind of thing. It's a little different than how you would do a regular stamp. And then I just really want to make sure that I have ink on every tip of every leaf and flower petal. And even though you can't see it, this is well inked. Okay. So the next step is to put back on the BetterPress plate and take all on my, I am embarrassed, but I'm going to show you anyway. I have an ancient big kick. It's going to be hard for you to see. And yeah, it's crappy looking, but and someday I'll get a new thing, but it's not broken. So with my big kit, all I'm going to do is just put the plate in, and then I'm just going to crank it through, and then I just crank it back through since I'm sitting on this side. And there's not a whole bunch of pressure. You could add a little more pressure if you wanted to, but I don't think it really makes a huge difference. And now we'll lift this up, and there is our result. And it's just beautiful. Let me get up there. It is a deeper impression, which is where they get the name letterpress, and it's a very fine impression. So I am going to wipe this off and show you some different techniques that I tried with this that maybe you hadn't thought of. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm not going to clean this off. I'm going to go ahead and re-ink this in a minute. Oh, I better wipe it off just a little. One never wants to trust. Never assume you know what that does. Okay, so once again, I'm going to put the paper over it. Backwards. Okay. And I'm going to put the platen on again. Press down on it. I'm not pressing real hard, just in case there's some ink there. Yay, it's clean. And then I am going to ink this up again. And even though it doesn't clean up perfectly, and neither will archival, it's okay. You'll get it off enough so that you don't spoil your next project. It's up on the end there. It's so easy to miss one of those tips. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use this is Craft Stock, Tim Holtz Distress Craft Stock Glossy Metallics, and we're going to put this on. I think I had the BetterPress that way. Okay, well, here we go. We'll find out in a minute. Oh, big kick. No other plates in there. And then the cranking, I'll move this up. The cranking is super easy. It's not like you have to, it's not like an embossing folder. Let's put it that way. some of those embossing folders I can hardly get through my machine. But since it's an old Big Kick, if I do booger it up, it's not like it hasn't served me well for, oh my goodness, 25, 30 years, something like that. Here is our image. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the ink in it, but I think it would even be pretty without ink and just have a little, the indentation. But there's definitely black ink there. So just for fun, I'm going to clean this plate off. And I've really kind of messed up the felt part of this. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to clean all of this. It's going to look like a hot mess for a minute. Whoops. Well, maybe I'll be able to attach a piece of felt to that. Okay. I like showing you things in real time, so that's kind of why I like the new way I'm trying to do my videos. Put a comment below if you like this better than the ones that are scripted. Well, not really scripted, but that I do voiceovers for. And I'm going to put this down again. I don't particularly care where it is because I'm showing you what it looks like. So I'm not going to worry about lining it up with the thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pop it down, pick it up, and then I'm not going to, I popped it down and picked it up. I don't need to do that. And then I'm going to run it through the old Big Kick again. Out of the way. And here we go. That's just beautiful. You could do that on a card, put a sentiment and maybe a couple little something somethings, maybe make the edge a little fancier, and you've got yourself a card front. Now, I have tried other types of paper. I I figure probably one that you might want to use would be watercolor paper. This is Tim Holtz's watercolor paper, and I'm just going to do it with the smooth side down. And I'm going to use the archival ink for this. And let me see. I'm not all that concerned about the placement of this. So we're just gonna go, because I'm probably not, I mean, the BetterPress does do a lot of sentiments, but I kind of still do my sentiments separately. So I don't know why I'm doing this, picking up the paper because I still haven't inked it. Oh, Gail. Okay, so this is archival ink in Rustic Wilderness, and they make the BetterPress ink for Spellbinders. The BetterPress ink I mean, they are, I've been told, dry out fairly quickly. So, and I think maybe that's partly because of it's not a water base so much, and because it's on that felt pad. So I recommend splurging on a re-inker because you won't get a whole lot. I've already re-inked my um, BetterPress ink, and I probably haven't used this a dozen times. Could be me, could be the humidity or the unhumidity in Ohio. Okay, so we got green on there. So it's going to be really obvious, but you can go back if you have to. You can put the platen back on, and I'm just doing this, and it's hard for me to see it. So I'm not a fan of this on the side, although I don't really think it's going to affect it, but better safe than sorry. Okay, the smooth side of Tim Holtz watercolor paper. And since watercolor paper is a little bit thicker, it'll still give you that little impressed bit. The thinner the paper, the less of an impression you'll get. And you might try another shim or two, but you want to be kind of careful. You don't want to do something that might damage your BetterPress or your die cutting machine. So I still don't have anything else in the big kit, just that. And then this pops up, and there's our image. Super pretty. Oh, I see where I boogered up there. Oh, no, I didn't. Go me. It's hard for you to see the indentation. There isn't a lot on the watercolor paper. Like I said, I could probably add another shim, and that would be great, but I don't really need it. Just, I mean, if you need to have it all poofed up, you could certainly do it. But like I said, you could also, if you don't like it, you could add a shim and then just run it back through, because your paper, you would just leave it on the top plate, and then it should all still line up exactly right. So let me see. Ouch. So Spellbinders has quite a few letterpress things, and so does Pinkfresh. Now, people ask if you can use the foiling plates, um, and I say that it says in the package not to, and it says on their website not to. Um, the Pinkfresh ones are made to do either, because it'll say right on the package. It says Pinkfresh Studio LLC press plates are compatible with the BetterPress system. Well, you're not going to hurt. You can foil this, okay? But you wouldn't necessarily take, this is a foil plate, but it is super heavy and super thick. And I don't know that it would work well. Besides, if you notice, these are fine lines and these are thick lines. It's hard to see, but they're not real narrow lines. And what I found happened is, if you have a lot of space, this was done with the BetterPress ink, and you can see that the ink is kind of blotchy there, which doesn't bother me, but it's because it's a wide open space and not a thin line. I would just, color over this with something permanent or put an embellishment over it. I don't have a problem with it, but I really wouldn't use other just foil plates. But you can absolutely foil with your BetterPress plates or the Pinkfresh ones that say that they work with the BetterPress, just to be safe. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I hope that you enjoy this and give it a whirl. It took me a while to get in the game, but I had some friends on Crafternoon. That's a thing that happens at noon on the West Coast, and it's by Pear Blossom Press. And if you go to her website, you will see a link, and there's a team meeting that she does every Sunday, and we just get on there and chat while we're doing paper crafts. And they're like, "Oh, Gail, you have to get it." And so I'm like, "Okay." So I went out the next day and got it. One last thing I wanted to show you was this is Black Hero Arts cardstock. And I ran it through the machine. It's not like, I need to do it for you because you know what the procedure is. I just inked it up, but I have a dry Brutus Monroe pad, and it is one of the spongy ones, but it's a thinner one. Whereas, oh, oh, I don't have it right with me, but it's a thinner one. Some of those white pigments have a thicker thing, and this is kind of dried out. So I just put it on the plate, and this is Hero Arts Midnight Black cardstock, and I ran it through, and it worked beautifully. So let me get this cleaned up, and then I've got some examples to show you. Always remember to put back your Sizzix sticky grid paper. It'll help it last a little longer. At least I think it does. Okay, I'm going to show you a new way to clean. There's our beautiful letterpress. Okay, so we still have some green ink on here. Well, I used archival ink, salvage patina, and my archival ink died because I was rubbing it all over this and it was rough, and so the felt came off the top. So guess what? There's a fix. I just put a sponge on a dauber and then just press down. See, I want you to see. Yeah, press down. Put it on there. This one's stained, so that's not fair. Okay, we'll pull all these off. There's no teal on that whatsoever. Like I said, this one got stained from another ink. There. I'm going to put these over in my thing. So then I'm just going to wipe it clean. I think some of this is older. It's never going to be perfectly clean, but I got off what I could. And I just keep that pad on that handle just for this. You can see no more green ink. Well, that's a different green. That's from another day. Anyhow, that's how I apply my archival now that the top is busted. So I just discovered something. I was playing around and I ran the bunnies through the BetterPress, and I thought, I wonder if we can just put color over them. And I mean, this isn't going to be a lovely job, but see, they just appear out of nowhere. Let's see what we got here. You can be kind of sloppy because you can just die cut them out. You don't want to be too heavy-handed because you'll go into the cracks. Let me just run these through the die cutter real quick. Just did a couple. So cute. I think it worked out rather well. Trying to make it so the camera could focus. It doesn't know what to focus on. So here, I just wanted to show you, this is what one looks like that has a sentiment on it. Most of the time I put sentiment strips. So, but this is what it looks like. This is the Magnolia. It's called the Magnificent Magnolia by Pinkfresh. I'll have it all listed below in the comments for you. And of course, this is another beautiful coloration of doing it on the foil. And then this is the Spellbinders Flower Pattern Cover Plate. And that's the one I showed you before. And this is the plate. So it's foil transfer and letterpress. And then this one is, I didn't use ink. I just ran this foil plate, which is also a press plate. And I ran it through and I didn't put any ink on it. And Pinkfresh also has stencils so that you could do kind of a no-line stenciling sort of thing, but you would have the indentations to give you a little bit of easier place to work from. And it would just, I think it would give a cleaner result just to have those edges. So I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, I was going to show you a finished card. I would never bore you guys by having you watch me color. I did this with Copic inks, and I have to say, it looked better than I thought. I left it after I was done, and the next day it sort of kind of smoothed out because I never have been that great at coloring. That's why I wouldn't insult you by showing you. But I mean, it's not a great coloring job, but it's not the worst. And all I did was use I have a little corner. Well, I had a little corner chomper somewhere, and it's gone for a while. I'll find it later. And then so I added the corner chomper to it, and then a couple of three Trinity stamps, bubble bath, little decorations, and I put it on some cardstock that I think is Gina K, but I don't have all my cardstock labeled because I don't do this for a living and I don't have that kind of time for organization. So I have things by color, but I don't have each brand. So I just happen to only use Hero Arts Midnight Black, which is how I know that. And I use certain white papers. But overall, this is the finished card. And I hope you enjoyed this and that you'll come back and see me like, subscribe, and tell a friend. And here are my other social medias that I'd love to have you follow. And here are more videos. Until next time, bye bye.